come in and rest here for a while, here in this place between worlds, this sonic space of layers and dreaming, a place where the old stories are more alive than ever, and the ancient goddesses have been eagerly awaiting your arrival. In each episode, we begin with an incantation to the goddess. May she illuminate our path with the light of awareness. May she dissolve our hearts into love and give us courage to enter the shadow realms within. May she open us in remembrance of our highest truth. May she hold us gently as we follow her guidance within, and may she help us find the lost pieces of ourselves to come home to. Close your eyes. Know that you are safe here. Breathe deeply and prepare to step with me across the threshold. The way is waiting. Let the circle open and the journey begin. Hello and welcome to episode 3 and our final episode of 2025 already. I hope that my voice is coming to you from the ether into a space that is cozy, that's dry and warm for you this winter. That the festivities of whatever rituals and traditions you follow were joyful and stress-free, and that you've allowed yourself plenty of time for rest, for reading, just hands down one of my favorite holiday activities, and for spending time either with the loved ones of your choice or in the quiet and peace of your own company. I know this can be a hard time of year for many, including myself, as I'm not home with my family following the traditions that I grew up with, but I'm spending another year as one of the so-called orphan nomads who gets welcomed into other people's homes and has to create new traditions, which is what I've done this year. I spent many holidays alone recently, and I know how that feels. So this month, I wanted to work with a goddess that holds her own in times like these, who creates and builds her world exactly how she wants it to be, and who rejoices and basks in the glory of it. She who enjoys her own solitude and company, unaffected by those around her and what they're doing. And I hope within the story and our exploration today that you will find some of your own sovereignty and be reminded that you can also make this time of year whatever you want it to be. For me, I'm spending it in Vienna, Austria, the land of my grandmother who passed away before I was even born. Her name was Lucia, and I really felt her with me as I worked with the Cailleach this month and the energy of the crone or the wise woman. So I want to dedicate this episode to her and to all of the wise women and the grandmothers out there who nourish us and show us the way in their own ways. With this episode, we're going to be delving into the realm of the imagination and the depths, the winter, the cold. Always to be reminded, however, that the hearth is there to warm us in the form of story, connection, song. This episode is going to have a slightly more fluid structure than the others, as I'm still figuring out what works and what doesn't. But today we're going to start directly in with the story. After that, I'll give a bit more background on the Cailleach as she's been portrayed through story over the last 2,500 years. And I'll also give you some ideas on how I've been working with her this month and how you might also be called to. We'll then slip into a brief and slightly more open-ended guided meditation journey, which will then flow directly and seamlessly right into the song to finish things off, which is an original lullaby that I wrote this month, inspired by the Cailleach, or Mother Winter, as the song is titled. So, are you ready? Get cozy then, and let us begin. I should not assume that you know necessarily what a snow-blanketed landscape feels like from within. For perhaps you've never felt the cold seeping into your bones, or looked out over a landscape coated in white. Perhaps you've never heard the silent, muted quiet of the winter air as the wind holds its breath. As the birds huddle together, keeping warm, not making even the tiniest of peeps, so as to conserve their waning energy. As the sky hangs heavy and gray, holding itself upwards so as not to disturb the hush with more of its weighted whiteness. No sounds of dripping water, no sounds of life. You are alone with the snow, and you are held by it, like a tiny figure in a snow globe as the flakes rest gently at the bottom of the orb. And if perhaps you choose to move through this magical snowy landscape in memory or in dream, all you will hear is the crunching of your boots compacting down the snow, your breath steaming, clouding the air in front of you, the sound of it almost deafening in your ears. Crunch, 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 crunch. The landscape before you blanketed, simplifying the forms of hills and valleys into white, shapeless masses, as the land before you holds its breath, holding its breath as you hold yours, communing together in the silence. And if you did not know this place before, well, you know it now, and you can return to it always in your memory. You can feel into that childlike wonder of waking up early and looking out your window to a whole world before you transformed. That excitement of a whole new land, wrapped in the warmth of coats and mittens and scarves and wool hats, the pull of exploration, of adventure calling, the beckoning of this old place made new. And if you feel that tug, then let us go further. As the magic begins to spark and warm you from within, let us feel the glow of those embers being fanned within us, that layer of heat and comfort pulsing between our skin and the softness of our warm clothes. Let us feel it take on its own energy. Let us allow it to lift us gently from this snowy, crisp layer of white, upwards now, into the air, flying, floating over it as if in a dream, suspended over the frosted landscape below, feeling the sensation of lightness, the bite of the wind on our skin, like we are hung from the great sky above by a thread. And that thread is pulling us gently forward, over land, out over ocean. And as we move through this space, we also begin to move through time, backwards in time as we move forward through space. Each propulsion forward bringing us further back in time, as higher up we fly until the masses of continents beneath us begin to float towards each other into one strangely shaped form. We see glaciers carving out rocks as they recede and move forward, moving backward, moving forward, etching their signature permanently in stone. Time moving backwards as we look down upon it all from so high above, the space you are suspended from, silent and separate. Until then, beyond the mass of ice and rock below, your eyes hone in on movement. A tiny figure below, toiling. A woman of white, her skin old and wrinkled like parchment paper, her eyes a piercing blue. She is hard at work, hammering, collecting stones, carving, moving ceaselessly without rest, her energy indomitable. Toiling, carving, collecting, using her hammer to knock ice into intricate shapes, this old woman of snow, this old woman of ice, this crafter of mountains, mother of the land, creator. You watch her at work from above as you drop down closer. The wind now moving around you closer. You can see her veil of white and her mantle of plaid, and it moves about her, whipping in the wind, although she doesn't seem to notice it. She's too busy jumping from mountain peak to mountain peak. She's too busy scattering stones here and there from her basket, shaking them out from her apron, hopping to and fro, creating little lakes as she goes, turning on geysers of rushing water here, rivers flowing tumultuously there. A busier woman you have never seen. She moves now to the ocean. Bending over, she blows into the waters and waves begin to form. She blows like she's warming each lick of water, conjuring them, casting spells over them, whispering to them. And the wind, it now begins to howl and whip around her. She holds her mantle in the air as it blows and dances around her. Into the water she throws it, splashing and conjuring the waves into circles, into tides, into turbulent whirlpools as she washes and she sings, her voice high and thin and reedy, so joyful it brings a smile to your face. You can see she is a woman who loves her own company, who sinks into it easily and wants for nothing more. You can see she is a woman who makes her own fun where she can, who makes a hard day's work into play, creating joyfully with a supernatural artistry as vast as her creations. And so she washes her clothes ankle deep in the tidal pools as they careen effortlessly, powerfully around her. And as she does this, you notice that the black of the cliffs and the slate of the rock at the shore, they begin to change color, spreading from midnight black to gray to pure white now. She washes, and she hoots as she sees this transformation take place, the white spreading across the land, the fingers of frost in fractals that stretch out and transform it all into a snow-covered landscape, not unlike the one you have just traveled from. And when the land is coated in white, she stops washing, and she moves towards the shore. You see now how large she is against the backdrop of the islands and the mountains around her. And she moves still with purpose, fixing this, carving that, smoothing here, honing each mass and form, her wrinkled hands that of a finely skilled sculptor. With just a flick of her wrists, a dance of her fingers, she shapes it all perfectly, magnificently. And now that she is content with this land before her of ice and frost and snow, she begins to stretch a new muscle now, that of the weather, which she also has control over. She turns her attention upwards now, no longer forming landscapes, she forms skies. From heavy skies full of storm clouds, to the ethereal lights of the aurora borealis, to the rains, to the thunder, the sleet and hail, she can conjure it all, and she must, just to keep these landscapes active and moving, shaping and balanced, for she is a force of nature, and she knows her work is never done. Although she can step away for a while when she wants, You see her admiring her work as she dusts off her hands, and then begins to move towards the tallest of all the mountains. Through a doorway she has carved in its side, she disappears. And then all is silent again. All is white. All is new and fresh and crisp and sparkling. This is what you have seen as you have watched from above. The creation of this land now known as Scotland. You have witnessed the final days of her hard work, for now she will rest beneath the mountain. She will come out to collect firewood, to move her herd of magical deer from one valley to the next, or perhaps to check in on her giant sons in the north who are always fighting and tossing giant boulders at each other. But she also knows when to rest, and when to stay beneath the mountain, cozy and warmed by the fire, the animals she keeps around her, the visitors she welcomes in from time to time. And if you are impatient to return forward in time to where you came, I will tell you this. Other mountains have grown since this time. Other landscapes formed and changed. But this land you have watched her create, it is ancient. And the one who made it, even more ancient, unfathomably ancient. She created it all. And in a way, she even created you and me, the mother of mothers of mothers of mothers, the wise one, the veiled one, storm mother, ice walker, frost shaper, crone of winter. And you might imagine that being all those things would be terribly wearisome work, and that eventually she might look out at all she has done and be satisfied. And maybe she was. Maybe she did know when there was no more work to be done. And maybe she did see that, like the mountains and the snow each season, it would one day also be her time to recede back into the dark and quiet places of the world. Perhaps she knew this, but perhaps she did not want to stop. Perhaps she didn't know who she would be if she was to stop. Despite the weariness and the stiffness of her bones, maybe she can just sit beneath the mountain in her great hall, warm and comfortable, with all she has made around her, sitting and waiting. But for what? We are not so sure. Some days she seems to get quite restless. She'll be tired of brewing tea within her mountain, and so she goes out to brew something much vaster in the form of a storm, in the whipping up of some hail, the forging of some lightning. But other days, she is content to just stay at home, sipping her stone tea, making her rock soup, weaving strands of wool from her sheep into garments to keep her warm. And so, time passes. Centuries pass. And she sits and she waits. And then something changes. Nothing we would notice from our vantage point, but in her inner landscape, something has shifted. She feels it in her bones, which have begun to weary, to creak, to clink and clack whenever she moves from the fire to her chair and back. One day, she feels a sudden, strange warmth, not from outside of her in the warmth of her hearth, but rather it is coming from within her. This unusual feeling is one she has never felt before. She senses change, and she senses something near. So she leaves her mountain hall, and she climbs slowly to its peak to watch for movement. Deer, snow hares, owls, all this she knows well. All these white, gentle footprints in snow she understands. But from her view above, she sees another kind of footprint. Heavier, larger, heading west. And in the distance, she sees a huddled form moving slowly, burdensomely forward. But she also senses something, a warmth within this bundle of moving blankets. And so she herself moves from the mountain peaks down into the glen beneath, westward, down. She shrinks herself down and stands there, staff in hand, white veil over her back bent, eyes as piercing as ever. Looking up, she sees that the form before her is a girl, dressed in white, with blankets wrapped snugly around her. Her cheeks are rosy, her eyes blue, her hair golden beneath a scarf on her head. She has a glint in her eye and a magic, a lightness, a warmth about her the woman feels she needs to be wary of. And yet, isn't this just what she has been waiting for? Isn't this just what she wanted? The girl is young and she is beautiful, and the old woman feels a stab of jealousy, a self-consciousness of her own huddled form, this sharp feeling she's never felt before stabbing at her cold and hard just beneath her belly button. But it quickly passes when the girl begins to speak. And she sees this girl is innocent to the world, and she needs her help just as much as the woman could use hers. And so an arrangement is made. The girl shall come to the hall beneath the mountain, and she will live with her. She will help her with her tasks, and the old woman will train her in the ways of being a woman of winter, a mother of the world, a force of nature. The girl's name is Brida, and her spirit is fierce. She is perfect for the job. She is kind and willing and uncomplaining no matter what tasks the old woman sets her. She works hard, day by day, and the woman watches, and the woman teaches, bestowing upon her her wisdom piece by piece, slowly but surely. And strangely, as the girl's strength and confidence grows, her own begins to seep from her, weakening her all the more. This she is wary of. She does not like what is happening, and yet she cannot blame this sweet, beautiful girl who is full of warmth and laughter and adoration of her. Some days the woman loves this girl like a daughter, and they sit together chatting, the girl stroking the old woman's hair or massaging her cold, aching feet. But other days the woman speaks harshly to her, brushing her away, frustrated, feeling some sort of inexplicable injustice she can't understand. And so it was on one of these days that she decided to give the girl an impossible task. A test of character, she thinks. She sends her off, speaking to her brusquely, telling her to go and wash this mantle that is the color of dung until it is white once more. But the girl does not know it has never been white. She does not know this is an impossible task. And so she goes to the lake, and she washes, and she washes, and she washes, and she washes until her hands are blue, until her fingers are wrinkled, her teeth are chattering, and yet the color of dung it remains. It is almost nightfall, the light dimming, the cold seeping into her, and the girl is disappointed in herself. She has done every other task the woman has given her perfectly. She has worked so hard for her approval, and she must not return until this work is done. And yet, it seems impossible. In despair, she sits down by the lake and she begins to cry, wet tears of frustration and shame, until an old man appears beside her out of nowhere, with a beard of white and a cloak of velvet. He sees her crying, and he takes a mantle of white from his bag and exchanges it with the brown-soaked fabric she has been washing. And then he smiles at her and hands her a beautiful, fragile white flower, like a teardrop hanging from a stem of green. And with a glint in his eye, he tells her to bring this to the old woman for him. And then quietly, with only the crunching of the snow beneath his feet to be heard, he walks back into the white as the light of the rising moon drips over the landscape. And the girl is overjoyed, for now she will return with the soft mantle of white, and the woman will be so pleased with her. She skips back to the mountain hall. She cries out to the woman, "I did it! I did it! Oh, I do hope you will be pleased." Beaming, she thrusts it into the woman's hands, and the woman's mouth hangs open, gaping. She is speechless. How could this be? But when the girl holds out this beautiful, delicate white snowdrop in her soft, pale hands, the girl does not understand when she is met with a scowl and a slap and a piercing shriek. "Go, go! I do not want to see your face again this day!" For the woman knows that her reign is almost over. The woman knows the time has come. With this one tiny flower, she sees her demise. And she realizes in that moment that it has never been her choice as to when she will step down as queen of this land of frost and ice, but rather that Father Time will ruin it all for her in the end. With this one tiny, fragile white flower, it has all come undone in an instant. The despair that takes over her saps her bones of their remaining warmth, and she uses what strength she has left to crawl out from beneath the mountain. She crawls down through glen and valley, and then up to the top of a hill, where a well of sweet waters she used to drink has always flowed fast and clear. But the well has gone dry. She is parched. She is so weary. And she drags herself to a cliff overlooking the sea. Oh, she did not think it would end like this. But the snowdrop, her spirit sapped of hope and life, she lies down, oh so weary. A bone-deep weariness aches and spreads from the tips of her frozen toes to her fingers and nose, her old body so heavy and tired now she can hardly move. So tired, so very tired. She slumps to the ground, and a deep sleep takes over her now. And she sleeps, and she sleeps. For soon, spring will come to this land. Soon, Brida will be its queen. Soon the ice and the snow will recede, taken by time, green spreading out over it as new life is created, bounty and abundance and all the colors you could possibly imagine spreading out across those once desolate stones, those harsh mountains and bare cliffs. And as new life takes over, the form of the old woman will slowly turn to stone as she lies looking out at the sea, forlorn, taken by time, no promise of youth restored. But perhaps she will return in another form. Perhaps this is not the end of her story just yet, but for now, my friends, we must leave her to rest with a promise that there will be a story for another day, another year, another time. And that, my friends, is one of the many stories of the Cailleach, the old woman of winter. I wanted to come in now and tell you about our goddess this week after the story and before the meditation, because here I've offered my very own interpretation of the Cailleach that differs from a lot of the versions that I've found. There's so many portrayals of her, probably because she's been found in texts that originate from all over Europe, Ireland, Scotland, the Isle of Man. She has so many names in many languages, and the variation of how she's depicted is probably a testament to how far she goes back in the folklore. She may have been worshipped as an earth goddess in early religions and nature-based priestess cults. She might have crafted the landscapes of Ireland and Scotland, with many a place there still bearing her name. We do know that the earliest references to her are found in ancient Roman and Greek texts by Herodotus, Pliny, and Strabo, who speak of her as a Celtic tutelary goddess on the Iberian Peninsula over 2,500 years ago. She may have migrated with the Celts from Spain and Portugal up to Ireland and Scotland and the Isle of Man, where her name still echoes there in the songlines beneath many a story and myth. She's often credited with the placement of Neolithic stone circles there, standing stone formations, of cairns, Neolithic burial chambers, and strange rock shapes that dot the landscapes of these lands. She's connected with animals in her role as Lady of the Beasts, and even credited for the migration of wild deer and some early herding techniques. She's closely tied with the winter, with water elements, with harsh weather and storms. She's the personification of the winter months and rules between Samhain and Beltane, the Celtic winter. She could be considered a nature spirit, a cosmic mother, a creatrix, a supernatural being, a goddess of destruction, of creation, of transformation. She can represent the raw, untamed forces of nature, and she can inspire the wild woman in us to be sovereign, free, independent, beating our own drums, creating our own realities, and playing by our own rules. There are stories of her forgetting to place a capstone back on a well at the end of the day, and the well overflowing and creating lakes like Loch Awe, Loch Ness, and others. There's stories of her forming the Ross-shire Hills, Ben Nevis, and other places in both Ireland and Scotland by dropping rocks from her apron or basket. You can find her throne in County Meath. In the west of Scotland, between the Isles of Jura and Scarba, the Corryvreckan whirlpools are said to have been made by her washing her laundry there. And many land formations are named after her. She is a triple goddess in the sense that she is the mother of the earth, but she's also the crone, for the Cailleach means crone or hag or the cowled one. And in some stories, she shape-shifts into the maiden form when spring comes, and Brida and her are actually one and the same. She is the ancestor to all of us, ancient and wise, existing in a time before time. Like many of the crone or wise woman archetypal figures, she can also represent the wisdom that comes with age and the learning that happens through harsh lessons. Many stories portray her as quite a malevolent or crone witch figure that is out to make other people's lives difficult. But I believe that these are layers that came when the Christian church wanted to oppress the stories of powerful women by making them into evil ones. And so my version of the Cailleach is perhaps quite different from others that you might hear. And this is just a brief introduction to the goddess, so if you're intrigued and want to learn more, there are plenty of resources out there for you. We also met Bride or Brida in this episode, who we will explore in more depth next month. And the story I've told you today will actually end up overlapping in some ways with the story in the next episode, as we explore the goddess Brigid. It felt right to end the story today on the brink of the coming of spring because we do still have some dark winter days before us. St. Brigid's Day and Imbola on February 1st will mark the beginning of the end of the Cailleach's reign, and our next episode, focusing on Bride or Brigid, will be released right in time on the last Friday in January. The lessons I've learned this month of December, though, from working with the Cailleach, they have been manifold, and it has been particularly interesting for me on my own journey because at the beginning of this month, I had quite a significant birthday, and I turned 40. As I'm sure you can imagine, I've been thinking a lot about aging and a lot about sinking more into the wisdom that comes from this passing of time and the accumulation of all the experiences. And it feels to me that with this slowing down and the moving into my own inner landscape that I'm doing this winter, I'm also able to hear my wise woman more. I'm able to ease more comfortably into her and nurture that part of me that isn't constantly moving and working and going and doing things all the time. So the image of the Cailleach is this creator who's working so hard, even in her old age. It felt really powerful to me. But also this idea that there being times to work and times to rest. Seasons for everything, whatever your actual age is. It also felt important to include in my telling of the story. So these are things that I've pondered and things that have made their way either consciously or perhaps not even consciously into the story. I also got quite caught up in my own memories of snowy landscapes forged by ice and glaciers from my own childhood growing up in the wilds of northern Ontario. I also think some inspiration from my favorite winter-inspired story, The Snowman, probably made its way in there too. So lots of pieces and parts of me, which is the magic of storytelling and the magic of creation. So I hope you felt that too. Some ways that I've worked with the Cailleach this month are collecting a winter bouquet of foliage and flowers for my altar. Right now there's Scotch broom all over the land I walk through. Beautiful yellow flowers. And I collected some of that, even though it gave me a lot of scratches and I'm not sure if it wanted me to pick it. But I did. And it's on my altar representing the connection with the Scottish landscape. And I also have some seashells that I once collected in Musselburgh that I've kept all this time on my altar as well. I felt called to work with clear quartz and smoky quartz and hematite this month. And I've been doing some journeys that call me into this imaginary cave space that's made of crystal quartz, which is where I've visited the Cailleach and asked her to share her wisdom and to guide me in my creation of the story and the meditation. So that was what inspired that. I've also spent a lot of time this month near the cliffs and the ocean, which is very wild this time of year on the coast of Portugal, and feeling her power in the landscape, the rugged cliffs, the wind-worn rocks, the wild places, wherever they are in your own life, may be another way you can connect with her. It's also a really great time of year to cleanse your space by smudging or burning Palo Santo or doing a deep clean to clear out old energy. Some suggested offerings beyond winter foliage and symbols of winter include stones that you might collect out on your walk, blue, silver, or white candles, offerings of water, milk, or bread. Really just aligning yourself with the natural world, with the dying light, the seasons, and the little glimpses of life and joy that you can still find in nature at this time of year despite the cold and despite the darkness. They're really great ways of getting outside and connecting in with the elemental and primordial energies of the Cailleach. Also, sleeping more, dreaming more, quietening, turning inward. These are very recommended at this time of year, and I've been doing a lot of that myself, which has felt very luxurious, I must say. So as always, I'm going to include some journal prompts for you and a list of resources in the show notes. And I encourage you to meet her and work with her in your own ways that feel best to you. Connecting in with the energy of the grandmother and with the wise parts of yourself or your higher self in meditation and prayer is also a really beautiful thing to do this time of year. So it's time for the meditation, after which I will leave you with the song that I wrote this month in honor of and inspired by the Cailleach, which I envisioned as a lullaby to the grandmother. We know that lullabies were very likely one of the very first types of songs that were ever sung. So I really loved this idea of the child and the grandmother laying down to rest together in the winter. It's called Mother Winter, and it's written and performed by me. I won't say goodbye at the end of the episode. I'll just send you off with a song. So I'm going to thank you now for journeying with me through these ancient landscapes of the imagination. And I wish you extra warmth and comfort this winter as we delve inwards into the cave of our own dreamings and imaginings. So here we go, and I'll see you next time. So just bringing your attention now as you let the images of the story fade away and all that you've learned in this episode, just letting it all float away, clearing your mind of any thoughts. And just allowing the feeling of a cool breeze to blow those thoughts away. Bringing your attention to your breath now. With each exhale, just allowing the space of your brain and your mind to be cleared. Noticing the weight of your body, bringing your attention down to your neck, down to your shoulders, down your spine, down into your hips, your womb space, down through your legs, down through your knees, your ankles, the tops of your feet, and the soles of your feet. Feeling the earth beneath you as it holds you in whatever form, whatever texture or feeling is beneath you, whether that's the earth directly or the softness of a bed, a couch. Just going down through that softness into the crystal layer beneath the soil, beneath the rock. Imagining a beautiful crystal cave beneath you that you are traveling and sinking down into. This cave of crystal quartz glistening beneath the mountain. You feel the warmth of this space, knowing that the mantle, the core, the center of the earth is glowing and hot. And you feel that heat being transmitted to you through your own heart. Wrapped warm in blankets and coziness, feeling the warmth of the fire nearby. You are in this cave, surrounded by softness. Beneath you, the softest of feather duvets, the most comfortable place you could possibly imagine, made even more comfortable knowing that outside the mountain the wind is whipping and the snow is coming down in blanket upon blanket. So cold, the whole world is icing over, freezing, slowing, time stopping. Knowing that this is going on outside brings you comfort in this crystal cave of softness. And so you begin to feel sleepy. Your body begins to feel heavier, each limb sinking into the softness. Your eyelids begin to get heavier. Your head begins to get heavier. You feel safe and held in this space. The glistening of the crystal shining through your eyelids. Your body begins to dissolve into dreaming. Slowing, resting. Now is the time to dream. Knowing you are safe, you are held, knowing that you are watched over. The Cailleach, there weaving her own stories into your dreams, or simply holding the space softly for them. Holding the blizzard above in harmony with the quiet of your internal world. What is it that you dream of? What do you see? What messages are there for you? Now I will allow you some time within this space, within this quiet, to just listen and see what you have not allowed yourself to see. Your dream begins to come to a close. You feel your body heavy, beginning to wake up. Perhaps you'd like to just stay here in this warm and safe place. And if you do choose to stay, You are welcome. You are watched over. You are protected until you decide to return. And if you'd like to leave the space and come back to the world above, I invite you to slowly begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, noticing the softness behind you, the warmth within you, noticing your breath. Noticing any sensations in your body, any changes that have taken place. When you are ready, I invite you to travel back up through the mountain, up through the layer of crystal, back to the earth above, back into your body, slowly returning and opening your eyes. Holding the dreams within you, the visions that you received from the Cailleach, the warmth that will stay with you through the winter.
Cast your spell upon me, lay me down to sleep and rest, and your blanket of white and snow-filled dreams, let it keep me safe and warm. Sing your lullabies of mist and memory, so sweetly in my ear. In the light of the softly waning moon, in your lands of glass and ice, sleep cannot come too soon. Down your weary bones and rest with me. It's time to sleep, your work is done. Let your darkness wrap around the ancient veil so thin, a shroud of mist and bone. Help us to release all that is and all that can't be. You're in a heart that burns so bright through dark and mystery. Help us soften into slowness, into calm. Your silence and your wisdom be our balm. I want to rest, to crawl so deep into your caves and find some solace there. Down your weary bones and rest with me. It's time to sleep, your work is done. Let your midnight veil the velvet of your darkened skies. Your lakes of glass gleam brightly in the early morning light. Let your wisps of mist wrap us in its embrace. Your fingers of ice, the frosting of your lace. Let your mountains and your bosom oh so warm. Your glens and valleys help us shelter from the storm. Cailleach, Brida, Cailleach, Pan Cailleach, Pan Pasa, Bir Brua Mission.